Yeah, you heard the news. Donald Trump, his administration, laid off 6,500 IRS employees. So what does this mean? How screwed up is tax season going to be? What's going to happen if you have to call the IRS? What's going to happen to enforcement? Is everything just chaos right now? Is the IRS going to go away completely? Let's get into this. All right, so I'm obviously talking to folks in the IRS. Oh, by the way, I'm in lovely Miami, recording for My Law CLE. We're rolling out an entire library of tax rep for lawyers, so very excited about that. Anyway, let's get into this. So yeah, 2,000 ACS employees, those are the folks who answer the phones, they're gone. A lot of the probationary employees out in the field let go. All right, now I know you heard 9,000. Well, this is 6,500. What's the difference? Those are going to be the folks who process returns. They're going to be gone in May. Many of them are already leaving. So there was a headline actually this morning as I'm recording this from the former IRS commissioner saying the tax season is going to get screwed up. Now, how badly? Here's my thought process on this. Okay, if you're e-filing a return, I don't think it should get screwed up. It's all electronic. It's all automated. Um, the only thing I can imagine is if a return gets pulled to be reviewed, that is absolutely going to slow down now. So I don't know if you remember during COVID, refunds taking 6, 9 months, a year. I think we're going to see a lot more of that. In terms of ACS, if you have a notice and you call, well, there were 2,000 fewer people answering the phones, and on average, I don't remember how many calls they answered, but it's tens of thousands, right? I'm sure that 2,000 is going to be several 100,000 calls in a year that are just not going to get picked up, and you're not going to be able to speak to anyone. And so what we're looking at is automated enforcement, by the way, is still on. So the automated notices of levy, the notices of federal tax lien, none of that is going to change. So from my perspective, we're going to get busier. All right, for those of us who do rep work, it's going to get busier. People are going to be screaming about their refunds. People are going to be getting levied who can't get to a human being to deal with it. All right, we're going to have to deal with it. This is where understanding the system and being able to elevate things to a human being is going to become critical. Oh, and by the way, the taxpayer advocate that was already understaffed, it's just going to get worse because people are going to go running to the advocate, and the advocate can't do much in terms of refunds. They can start working on the levy issue, but it's not going to get done within 21 days before that money gets sent to the government. So suffice to say, it's going to be a shit show for a little while. Now, my personal thoughts on all this, because I've seen a lot of comments saying, hey, Eric, but is this a good thing? What do you think about what Donald Trump is doing? Look, I think that this over time had to happen, meaning, I'll give you an example. It's probably the best way to do this. You can go online right now if you owe $25,000 or less, and you can set up an installment agreement. Right online, you don't need to talk to a human being, you don't need to submit any financials, easy peasy. But that's it, 25,000. The system cannot do the involved math on the higher amounts, like the 250,000 that you could do over the phone with no financials. The system can't do. What I would have preferred to see is the Doge folks say, you know what, Commissioner Werfel, I think, had like a 5-year plan for this. We're going to do it in 18 months and really invest in that. And then at that point, you might not need all the staff anymore. Because remember something, I think it's like 26% of American households don't own a computer or a smartphone. So, to assume that everyone will just go online and deal with it, I don't know how realistic that is. The point is, I think that this is being done in kind of a very hackneyed sort of way. I mean, they should have been more surgical, I think less chainsaw about it. Now, that said, I understand why they're doing it. First of all, I'm sure he's concerned about losing Congress in the midterm, so he figures he's got 2 years. I don't know how realistic that is, but I'm sure that's a concern. The other thing I'm sure that's going through their mind is the probationary employees. They're on probation for 3 years. If they move quickly, they can get rid of them during their probation period and they don't have to pay benefits or anything else. I'm almost certain that's what Elon Musk and his folks were thinking. All right, that's why every probationary employee, regardless of the role, is gone. And I will tell you, it's a bit of a problem. All right, all these appeals officers that the IRS recruited away from firms, they came in at grade 14s, which is a higher level. Tax attorneys, they paid. By the way, they paid $40,000 signing bonuses to these folks. They're all gone because they were in their probationary period, even though we needed them. So I don't like the chainsaw approach that's being done. I'm all for automation and really trying to move us away from this massive staffing. In the same way, if you follow us, how I'm on you to use Ignition to automate your engagement letters, and Gruntworks and Liscio to automate, not only for data security, but to automate the tax organizer and the preparation of the 1040. The same thing goes for the government. If they can automate it, they should automate it. All right. One of the things I'm really high on is, why do they have to mail me stacks and stacks of letters? Why can't I just get SmartVault? Why can't the government license SmartVault and I just get an email saying, oh, by the way, you have correspondence, and let me go and download it? The only thing I can imagine is that the IRS has been trying to keep the post office in business. So I think that there's a lot of benefit. But again, there are some people who can't do that. All right. There are taxpayers who don't have a computer. So this might have to be an opt-in thing. Anyway, the point being, I'm all for automating. I am all for changing this. I'm all for reducing staffing and saving waste. I'm there. I understand the vision. I'm just a little concerned about how they're going about doing it, honestly. But I do think that overall, just to summarize, I don't think tax season should be a huge deal for those returns that are e-filed. If they're paper filed or they're e-filed but pulled for a review, that is going to get slowed down. It just is. And your clients are going to lose their shit when they don't get their refund in a week or 2 weeks or even a month, and you're going to hear about it. All right. And what I've been telling people who've already started complaining to me, this is what you voted for.